Thinking back to one of my first days when I was right before I became an assistant editor, uh, the incoming editor-in-chief was Farzad, and he was my boss in the sports section at the time. So Farzad, Sam Strong, who was about to become the sports editor, and I decided, let's get dinner. Let's talk about the next year. Just talk about the things that could come up over the year, and just casually, plan out the year ahead of us. And it was cool. We sat in the dorms, talked about a lot of things in terms of production and stuff like that. And then we talked about, like, what are we going to do if some big news breaks? And we were just talking about random, big news stories that could happen. And Farzad said, like, hey, you got to be ready if John Wooden dies. And Sam and I were just like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. We thought he was healthy. And we just kind of laughed about it. And then we joked, like, oh, Sam Allen, who was a senior at the time, Farzad was like, Sam Allen apparently has the obituary ready whenever John Wooden happens to pass away. We were like, oh, okay. We kind of laughed about it, thought it was a joke. The very next day was 30, and right during 28, the Washington Post reported that John Wooden had died. And we're all just kind of looking at our phones like, oh my God, how could this have possibly happened right after we were talking about it. Turned out John Wooden didn't actually die the night of 30. It was an erroneous report. He did die over the weekend after 30, which was, I think, my very first day as an editor, and it was quite the news event to deal with for someone who hadn't really worked in the office before.